Hello, folks. Welcome to Pack Reacts, where we got the fun Pack Reacts tonight. It's just only me and Jeff here. We got the two J's. Mike's not here, unfortunately, but we got Matt to fill in for the M. So hey, we got the two J's and the M filling in here, folks. So welcome Matt back again to the channel here.
Awesome to see you guys. I was going through Jeremy. I'm like, I think it was about a year ago. I was like, I know we're doing a mock draft at the end of this. And like, I was trying to go back and find like, did I even get one of the picks right from last year? That's one of my things this year. Like, I've been putting out a few mock drafts. I want to go back through when I have some free time to like, did I hit on 52, 84? Did Goody just completely throw a wrench in it? So, no, excited to be back and yeah, meeting Jeff for the first time here. I've seen you guys have been crushing it the last few months. So excited to talk some Packers here.
Awesome. And for folks that don't know of Matt, he is one of the co-hosts on Pack a Day podcast. There's multiple co-hosts, mostly known with Andy Herman, who's like the main guy. But Matt does his own segment. He does a bit of co-hosting episodes here and there. I think it's Saturdays, if I'm correct, Matt.
Yeah,
Okay.
Saturdays. You got it, man.
Saturdays. And he does deep analysis with the team too, like with Andy Herman, of course, where he talks about the team a lot of like seeing injuries, update with the roster, looking through, as he just mentioned about the mock drafts, of course. Matt might hit it this year. We don't know. He might. Maybe he might do well for us. I don't know. I hope so. For our sake here, folks, as we do our mock draft later tonight. And that is one of the things we'll be talking about later tonight is we have a mock draft. Of course, Matt will be the leader for that. He'll be controlling the whole board to see what our guests got. As me and Jeff ask Matt more about how he became a Packers fan, of course, we talked about before, but Jeff is going to be asking more about how he feels about the team. I will be asking more about his career in the Pack a Day podcast realm. So to kick it off here, Matt, how did you start by being a part of the Pack a Day podcast?
Great question. It's fun, honestly. Like I basically got out of college. Jeremy, I know you're kind of pursuing some broadcasting stuff, and Jeff, I don't know your background, but I just like got out of college and had gone to school for traditional media, right? Like TV, radio, writing, everything under the sun, and like kind of realized like this isn't really going to be the path I want to take. So I went a different path career wise and found myself at some point having some extra free time and needing just like a passion project. So started podcasting on my own, maybe 2018, was doing my own podcast and talking sports, talking Packers, talking with friends of mine that I thought were interesting people career wise, wanted to interview them, and had a friend of mine that we would do like hip hop shows, like break down new albums that came out or our top 10 lists and stuff like that. So it was fun, kind of like figured out the kinks. I think initially we were using like Anchor FM to record on that, and that was a pretty good tool at the time. I know things have evolved. And honestly, I did that for like 6 or 7 months. Summer came, got kind of distracted with just regular life, started getting a little inconsistent with the episodes, which I didn't like for myself. And it just so happened after about not doing an episode for about 6 weeks, I was like, probably going to shut this down and maybe I'll come back to it. And then lo and behold, Andy puts out his infamous tweet that comes up every once in a while, at least a screenshot from his end. And basically put out a tweet saying, hey, looking for like 2 or 3 people to maybe jump on a daily Packers podcast who's interested. He got a bunch of submissions. And had I not taken that leap to start grinding it out, getting a couple listens from some maybe friends and family from some podcasting I was doing on my own, probably never had a chance to be on Pack Day. So stuck with it over the years. To be honest, like there's been times where I'm like, it's tough to fit into the schedule. There's times where you're like, I maybe it's not, I don't say worth it for me, but like I've come around where it's like, it's so cool to get opportunities to be a part of Pack a Day, like that small piece, like you mentioned, Jeremy, like Andy holds it down like tenfold. I mean, if anyone hears and listens to him, how much he puts in, I think everyone puts in a lot of work in their passion project. He goes above and beyond. That is his 9 to 5 at this point. So trying to support him as best we can. And yeah, it's awesome to have that platform that he kind of puts us up on that pedestal and lets us, have an opportunity to talk injury report, mock drafts, etc. And it's cool the way to break up the end of the week on a Friday. So I've been doing it for, I don't know, since the beginning of time, 2,300 episodes and change with them. Obviously not all of my episodes, maybe a seventh of that or whatever it was at one point. But no, it's been fun and met a lot of cool people along the way.
Nice. And for someone trying to break into sports content like yourself, Matt, what are some of the most important skills you would say you need to have in that?
Yeah, I mean, you got to be a little savvy, right? Like, and you got to know. We just talked right before we started recording. I know last time we recorded, Jeremy, I think we were using StreamYard. You pivoted now to Riverside. I think like to know what's out there tech wise. I think it's 2026. Like, if you're not curious about what's out there on the internet, whether it be AI or just streaming software or just, I'm just gonna try to get really good at LinkedIn content or TikTok. Like, I think I don't know, you're kind of just a boring person to me. So like find a lane there.
Mhm.
But you gotta really humble yourself though to answer your question. Like start posting on TikTok, but like it might take a couple dozen posts before you crack that 1,000 views, and it's like it takes time. I would say like that's probably the platform I would start on if I were starting fresh, just because I have seen friends of mine that have started in their content career or content ambitions far later than I did, or like kicking some ass over there on TikTok. And TikTok just is crazy, right? But like
Yeah.
that's not to say 6 months from now that platform changes and a new one emerges. So I would just say start posting, whether it be cringy or not. You kind of got to put yourself out there and just be prepared for that. And then hold yourself consistent. I think that's the big thing. Like with anything in life, whether it be a job, some routine you want to establish, like anyone can go to the gym for a full week, right? But like, okay, what do you do on the 8th, ninth, 10th day? Like, so it's just constantly doing that. And like, don't hold yourself too serious. Like, that's what I was kind of mentioning when I was doing I was trying to do an episode a week. It tiered off into bi-weekly, which worked really well. And then at some point I was like, I just kind of had cut bait. So I think it's okay. Like if you start and stop stuff too, like it's going to happen. But yeah, just scratch that itch if you have it. There's a ton of places to do stuff. And if you don't know how to do something, like I said, you can ask ChatGPT or Claude and like, hey, I want to start a podcast, but I want to stream it on TikTok and Twitter. And here it's like, it's going to tell you how to do it. There might be some hacks around ways to not pay for stuff too, which is kind of up my lane. But yeah, I think just get out there and start doing it. Right. Like,
Mhm.
yeah.
Nice. And kind of, you mentioned it a little bit, but what do you think separates, like with Pack Day podcast, for example, what separates a good sports podcast from a great one, in your opinion?
Mm. I think it's twofolded. So, well, actually, it's three things. So, three like decent production. I think is important. I know when I initially was putting out my own episodes back in the day, like I was recording in my basement at the duplex I owned, and like occasionally the furnace would kick on. I'm like, microphone's not going to catch that. Microphone definitely catches that. And it's like it's so easy now to there's a toggle on StreamYard when you use it, like you checkbox, like it removes background noise. I know using Google Meets for like work,
Yeah.
there'll be people like I have construction next door at my house, like or in my apartment building. I'm like I can't hear anything. So like technology is adapted, but like you don't want to have like a smudge on your camera or recording off of a pair of these headphones. Like it might work, it might not, but just like invest a little bit, like maybe $100, and you're probably going to
Mhm.
be totally fine. And then so that's tech wise, and then it's like have your own takes. I think is important, but like be well educated in those takes. Like don't say that Matthew Golden is going to be a bust because he had a terrible rookie season. It's like, well, historically, let's look at rookies for the Packers, offensive rookies for the Packers, and what historically receivers do in the NFL. Like it's not huge. I mean, we're kind of biased over the last 5 years with like fantasy football and all these like rookies that have came in at receiver position, but like look historically and see what that looks like. And then the other one is like I like to just really absorb everyone else's stuff, whether that be Cheesehead TV, whether it be something that Andy and Justice Mosqueda are putting out on YouTube, what the national media is saying, and kind of like have a curated. I don't really use lists, or I don't even know what the other things are on Twitter, but kind of having a good timeline of like I know I can get some stuff, and even before we record on Fridays, like I always go to packerswire.com just to check if Zach Cruz and the boys have put anything out there that's super relevant. I always check packers.com because sometimes they put something out on a Friday afternoon that they love to do. Like, hey, this might be relevant to talk about, but like, it's okay to go against the grain, but have like something to stand on with it. Like, don't just say, you know, Emmanuel Wilson could have been the next Pro Bowl running back for the Packers. Like, I like Emmanuel Wilson. I think he's great, but like, let's be a little bit honest with ourselves. And if you have something to back it up, more than happy to have that debate with someone on Twitter or in the DMs or on a podcast. But like, kind of, you got to stand on business a little bit with your stuff.
Awesome. Awesome. No, that's
Very,
awesome here.
very respectable.
I'll kick it off to Jeff here, where Jeff has more questions about pertaining that, not to me, Wilson, but more conversations like that.
Yeah, speaking of expectations for first round rookies, I saw you agreed with Aaron Nagler's point on Matthew Golden's usage from last year and
Yeah.
that whole situation. So just curious if you want to maybe share some thoughts on that, because I think I could certainly agree with the fact that he should have been used more, but it seemed, I guess that's been like a firm kind of opinion that's been established more recently or talked about, that I guess the more I think about it, I could look back and feel that way, but I don't necessarily think that it was a huge detriment to the season, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, and I think it's like with anything, like we're what, two months removed
Right.
from the season getting done, so it's like we're doing this reflection. We're all bored, right? Like we're trying at this point, April Fool's Day, we're trying to like figure out what the mock drafts look like, and we're also trying to like maybe some pro day stuff and top 30 visits. Like that's really, so we're bored. Like that's where it's at. But I do think, Justice Mosqueda had a really good point a couple weeks ago on one of the YouTube videos that him and Andy did for Pack a Day, just talking about like, and it's, I don't want to say it's a conspiracy, but it does make a ton of sense. Like the Packers knew that they were going to get a ton of comp picks this year, and like, or into 2027 with all the free agents.
Right.
And I think the way it was handled, like it went almost exactly as it went aggressive, but it almost followed everything that we thought was going to happen, to the point of like Rayshon Gary doesn't even walk. They actually end up getting a pick for him, which is crazy off the bat. Like everything kind of else went how it was supposed to. There was really no surprises like at all. Like there
Rasheed Walker, that was the big one. But
exactly. And like I think everyone was like, Rasheed's going to go get some money, but he didn't get a lot of money. That was the crazy part. Like we're like, oh, he's going to go get the Dan Moore treatment. That didn't happen. I think there might be some similarity to like what happened at left tackle this offseason, but like, and Agbari leaves, all these guys go. Like there was really no one retained. Brenton Cox came back, which is fine, which made sense. They had to bring someone. So like I round that all out to say that like it did seem like the Packers were like, hey, we're totally fine getting these comp picks. And Justice's point was like between Rasheed Walker and Romeo Doubs, like had they not been on this potential comp pick trajectory, like do they get played less? Do they get? And I'm like, damn, that's an interesting thought. Like, does Jordan Morgan start more games, or even start not even 2024, like 2025? Does he start the season, right? Or like even Romeo Doubs, like he was, and I think that's a separate conversation for each of them, but I think it's similar. Like Rasheed Walker probably plays more games just because they knew like he most likely was going to be the number one left tackle out there. Romeo Doubs, I feel like played a lot just because some of the injuries the Packers had. That's, Golden had an injury, Reed had an injury, Watson was injured once again. So I don't think that was the situation there, but I say that all to say, like, there was a ton of mouths to feed. Even when Tucker Kraft went down, there was still a lot of guys to feed. And like, let's not pretend Matthew Golden was like a star, right? We knew in July and August, like, man, he's got great hands, but like some of the routes he was running in the first couple of weeks of the season were like, oh my gosh, like he's running into guys. There's definitely, it's like, okay, like there's no realm where these two guys should be in the same area of the field on a deep, trips formation or concept. It's just not going to happen. So, and then I think it's caveated with the sick touchdown he had in the playoff game. It's like
he ended,
right. So everyone's like, that's their lasting memory. So I think there's a combination of things there, but I do say it's like Packers historically don't use rookies a ton their first year. And I think with all the guys in front of him, it was like, we're going to make sure he earns it. We're not just going to throw him out there and bubble screen you to death or, RPO you to death with Matthew Golden. Like what advantage is that to us in the long term? Like statistically cool, but like, he's not really learning the playbook at all at that point. So I don't know if that means anything going forward, but I do think, I think whatever his plus minus is, even if they have that out there on FanDuel, I'd love to check, or DraftKings or PrizePicks. I'd love to see what that is, but I would probably smash the over just based off of, I think he's going to probably end up being a great fit in this offense. And with the rumors with Wicks today, it would be a hell of an opportunity for Golden to take off.
Yeah, no, that would be awesome. I think I'm a little bummed about the Wick situation in the sense of like I was always one of the truthers that I thought he was eventually going to be like a Devontae Adams light type player, But I think it just seems, with investment in Christian Watson, Matthew Golden, et cetera, Tucker Kraft, they got to pay. It just seems very unlikely that they're going to keep, Wicks over Reed. I thought it was funny though how you described like this part of the off season as conspiracy zone though, or because that's just a great way to like have a lens on a lot of what is being discussed right now, where it's like literally just not a ton happening. So everybody's obviously be putting a spin on things and like reading way too much into any quotes that come out and stuff.
It's nasty.
And with me and Jeremy living outside of Philly and having a ton of Eagles fan friends, that whole situation, like that story coming out today, that was one of my joyful experiences today, was screenshotting a lot of that, sending it to my Eagles fans friends, and then them rightfully throwing back in my face though. I mean, the dude won a Super Bowl, so you can't really say that much, right? But at the same time, it's like the worst vibes around a Super Bowl winning team and quarterback that I can remember in a long time outside of like Russell Wilson comparison that gets made.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
it's wild.
And the final thing I'll say is like today's the first day that all the teams and the owners are coming back from the owners meeting in Arizona. So there's going to be all these little tidbits that either come out the day after, like the Jalen Hurts thing, or people are going to sit on them until April
Oh,
22nd,
true.
and
Yeah.
it's going to start
Yeah.
slipping those.
Mhm.
And then it's pro day, so like all the pro day stuff is just muddled, where it's like guys are running
Bunch of
crazy.
rumors.
Yeah, and it's like guys are running crazy 40s that they ran at the combine, and then it'll come out like, oh, that was hand time. It's just this whole back and forth. Like, and there's this last couple of years where it's like guys' arm sizes are like growing or shrinking by inches. It's like, dude, what? It's just like, again, exactly. We have to deal with it for the next 22 days, I think it is. So it's like, it's fine, it's fun, but like, don't forget that we will be like a week or two away from like, there will be a conversation, I guarantee it, of if the Vegas Raiders are trading out of the one spot. Like that will 100% happen. It always does every year. I can't remember the last time it didn't happen. Where it's like, yeah, maybe they trade back to 3 and this team trades up and the Cardinals are falling in love. And it's like they get all. And it's like, okay, it's fun, it's cool, but like it gives us something to talk about. But yeah, it's like we're just bored in April.
No, it's. I mean, yeah, I feel like the Raiders are probably gonna keep that pick, but yeah, you're right that there definitely will be some rumors of some kind coming out.
Absolutely.
But speaking of the owners meetings, did you happen to watch any of the like the interview that LaFleur did with Kyle Shanahan and just some of the other comments that he made generally? I mean, I thought there was some interesting. Like I generally enjoyed watching him speak. I feel like he's a pretty eloquent guy and like isn't too cryptic, but I feel like
Yeah,
people have mixed feelings about him.
yeah, I did a bad job, honestly. I didn't watch that. I know that was like a 20-minute piece of content, which is like pretty easy to digest. I didn't watch it, but I did get the only thing I heard from it was Kyle Shanahan kind of ribbing towards the Rams. Of like, well, if we're gonna play in Mexico City, we're gonna have the Rams
Right.
come with us
Yeah.
too. So it's like it is kind of cool to see him and Shanahan, since they are a little bit tied to the hip. But
Yeah.
and Matt's solid in like long format stuff. I think sometimes the press conferences, it's not the best Matt version of Matt LaFleur.
He could
Certain
be a little
times,
he could be a little snippy.
exactly. That's exactly. I was going to come up with a different adjective that
Yeah.
you hit it on the head, and it's like he is, and it's like, dude, like I don't know, like I get it, but like sometimes like you are kind of being a knucklehead with some of the play calls and stuff. So I will have to go back and watch that. But was there anything that like you gleaned from it that was like super eye opening, or is it more just like, I don't know? Was there anything that you drew from it at all?
I would say it's just more like entertaining. Like they both seemed pretty laid back and just were being like genuine about, they were talking about like how much free time they have during the week and stuff like that. And like
Yeah.
Shanahan basically was being detailed about how he has like a 4 hour window on Fridays. That's like his only like downtime with his family basically. And then LaFleur was saying that he's like the bye week is my only time off basically, because he does seem like a little bit of a hard ass in that reign where he's like, I feel like he's made jokes before about during pressers about his wife being mad at him for having no idea what the Christmas plan is or something like that. And that's one of the, listen, I love LaFleur, but that is like something I have noticed at times where I'm like, he basically like admits that he's not as I don't know, perhaps as present of a husband as
Yeah.
father as he could be, but maybe that's just the life of an NFL coach. I mean, it is what it is, I guess.
Which is
I don't
a
know.
little,
It's interesting.
Which is a little, and you said it right, like a little bit of a hard ass. Like, all these coaches, right? This is like a once in a lifetime, whether it's one of 32 or position coach or whatever. Like, it's insane. But like, I don't know. I've having kids, and I just don't see with communication like how you could be that disconnected.
Yeah.
It's like, how? Like, you don't have like a massive whiteboard where you're walking on the steps and seeing, or like a tablet. Like, you just like, there's just no way. And I will say, like, that's a little bullshit from Matt LaFleur, because this was a few years ago. This was a good high school basketball game in De Pere. De Pere Redbirds, they were good. He was there. Like, his kids were in middle school, and like he was at the game. So it's like middle, and I'd have to go back and look. It would be random if it was after the season, because like most of the season is during, most of the WIA high school basketball is during the NFL season. So it's like he was there on a random Tuesday or Wednesday. And I know they have a lighter day, I think on Wednesday maybe, but like regardless, yeah, it's like, dude, you don't have to. It's like the guy in high school or college, or like kind of like,
He's like little man syndrome.
yeah, like talks crap about his girlfriend, but it's like, dude, like, I don't know, like You don't have to do that. Like, it's fine.
So the thing is, no, I mean, not to harp on this topic too much, but it's funny. Like, I think I have almost read it in a sarcastic way sometimes, though, because typically when he makes those comments, he will be like grinning ear to ear, and
Yep.
it's like I genuinely cannot read if he's just like being like an aloof husband and like
Yep.
actually just being honest, or if he's like playing a bit almost, you know. So it's interesting. Like, I would hope that he's not that disconnected from his family life, but who
There
knows, you
might
know?
be the final thing I'll say to that, or at least I will. Maybe you guys can. We'll see what Mike LaFleur says in Arizona. Maybe it is a LaFleur thing where they're like, we're just football guys, but maybe they both have the bit right where it's like, yeah, me and my brother
Yeah,
just so that'll be funny to see.
true.
But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, I get it. It's a grind. Like, we see like just what happens to these guys' bodies too, right? Like, there are guys that are like fit and lean. Like, I'm sure Ben Johnson in a couple of years isn't going to be taking his shirt off anymore. Like, he's going to look like crap living in Chicago too. So it's like, I think it's tough, right? Like, it kills you guys. I mean, essentially, it's killing you. Like, you're
yeah.
sleeping in your office, you're eating like crap, you're caffeine probably through the wazoo, and you're under massive amount of stress. Like, you have a bad year and a half, and like you might be out of a job. Like, it's just what it is. So it's but no, I'll have to go back and listen to it, and it'll be a fun little piece to probably chew
Yeah,
on
it's
over
more
the next couple of weeks.
more just entertaining. Honestly, the most that I saw on social media was what you were saying about the international game discussion, but
Yeah.
there's also just like a lot of dunking on Florio because he was wearing an outfit like Steve Carell from the 40-year-old version, where he had like baggy light jeans on with like big like white dad shoes and like an oversized polo, and then also Chris Sims is just a gigantic goober, and he was like positioned in between LaFleur and Shanahan. So during the interview, he was like looking left and right, and it's just like, why did they have it set up like that? It was so awkward. But other than that, Shanahan and LaFleur were pretty chill, and it was an entertaining conversation.
That's funny.
It's just I watched something like that, and I'm like, oh my god, if these two guys can get to the situation where they're interviewing head coaches at the ownership meetings, anybody who puts enough time in can get that done.
Yeah. Agreed. It's funny.
But okay, so I guess probably transitioning more to draft stuff, so we can get to the
Sure.
mock draft in a second. But I think just generally, I mean, I think we all probably collectively know, you know, cornerback, offensive line are big priorities. But what would you say your general thought, as of April 1st, with a lot to change, is in terms of just general ways you'd like for them to attack it, or even if you have any potential conspiracy about a trade that they might pull off to, you know, either acquire more picks or move up.
Yeah. Bunch of thoughts. So number one, I was hoping after free agency they would have at least put like uh, a stopgap on something. You know, the Flex Seal commercial where they just like slap, or the meme, right?
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
slap it down here. Like, I was hoping that would be like the cornerback spot or the D line spot or the offensive line spot. I still feel like those needs are still those same needs. I don't think it changed that much. I think the Hargrave addition is great, but I still don't think that's like fixes it all, especially with like the edge rushers.
Do you
Benjamin
think
St.
Trayvon Diggs would like if they brought him back? Do you think that would solve corner at all?
Not solve. It's
Not solve. Not solve. Sorry, would that be the Flex Seal Spandex you're talking
yeah, I
about?
mean, that would be I'd be like a piece of bubble gum thing. Like, it might work. It could work. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it's pretty smart, honestly. Like, and it's smart in the sense of like, he once was very good. I don't know if he fits the scheme that Jonathan Gann wants to run, etc. Like, I think it would be a very cheap option. Benjamin St. Juice, like, more of a special team guy who's going to compete, but like still never going to be a number one corner, and that's what they need. They need that desperately. So, and then offensive line, like, they have their starting five, I think, right now. Cool. Don't necessarily love it. I think it's somewhere in the middle of the pack, probably talent wise. So, they need to go out and get someone like Elton Jenkins. I loved Elton Jenkins, but he's gone. Anthony Belton, Aaron Banks were pretty bad last year for each of their own reasons, right? Injury or just being a rookie. So, and then Sean Ryan, I think is solid, but like they're miles away from having whoever the Corey Linsley was, right? They don't have an all pro center, and I think they kind of need that, especially if they're going to run the ball more. So, I say that all to say in a long fashion, like, I don't think much changed. They did add some depth pieces who are going to be able to compete, which is fun. So it does give you a little bit more flexibility at 52, right? Like, if you're like, hey, we smashed the cornerback spot. Like, we went out and got St. Juice and we signed Trayvon Diggs and we got an elite corner. Like, we're good. Well, what happens if there's a massive run on D line, offensive line falls, and they're grabbed up in pick 33 to 50, and all of a sudden there's like three or four really good corners there. You're like, damn, like we shouldn't have done that. So it's you could look at it that way, but I do say like I think it has to be defense at 52 or 84 or both. I just think it has to be a corner or defensive lineman or an edge. I think it's tough to find edge outside of like the first two rounds that are like actually explosive, twitchy guys that can bend. There's just not a lot of guys like that in, you know, 8 billion people in this world. There's just not many guys that can do that effectively. And Packers have taken some gambles on guys that are not on the team and still on the team that like, cool, they're absolute freaks of nature. That's awesome. Like you would love them if you're creating a player in Madden, but they're not really that productive in the regular NFL. So that's the way I'm approaching. I could still see them throwing an absolute curveball, and I could still see running back somewhat prioritized. I don't think it'd be crazy. There are some decent running backs out there that do fit the Packers like thresholds and stuff. There might be a fast run on those guys too. Running back's a weird spot in the NFL, especially in the draft. But yeah, all of the positions have stayed the same. I think the couple that would completely throw me would be linebacker, interior linebacker, because it's like I think they're pretty set there, especially the Zaire Franklin acquisition. Offensive line would kind of throw me a little bit because it would be like multiple years in a row spending like top 100 picks on an offensive line selection, which I don't think is the worst thing in the world, but like when they have more glaring needs, especially at corner. So that's not kind of the way I'm looking at it. Last week, to your question, Jeff, about just a conspiracy on trades, I did have Carson Fowler on from WFRV. Younger dude, went to Syracuse, has been around for like a year in the Packers market, and like he's got a hunch. He's like thinking between him and the boys around the water cooler at the station, like maybe the Packers are leveraging themselves for a big move just with like all the cap space they opened up and how the minimal cap that they ended up spending. The problem be that it's like, hey, you have cap room, but like you don't have like much capital. So it's like it's going to turn into, you don't have a first this year, you don't have a first next year. It's tough to move up into the day one, tough to even move up in the top 40 without having those, higher end picks. Does that end up including Dontavian Wicks or another player out there? I don't know who that would be because I don't necessarily know if they have any like equity players that would like make sense outside of the receiver room. So maybe it is a Jaden Reed. Maybe it is, I don't think it would be a Christian Watson, but you get my point. Like it does limit them, but I think they do have some money. So maybe they are leveraging themselves for that post-draft signing. I don't know how much of those really happen either before the draft or after, but I do know like come late July, August cut down time, there is some money to be spent then when guys get moved. So maybe that's what they're waiting on. But yeah, to look back, to where their salary cap was 60 days ago, it's significantly different now, and kudos to Russ Ball and the team. But yeah, I don't know if they're in the splash game this year. It kind of seems like every other year with a Goody is the splash game, and they just came off the Parsons one, so it seems difficult to do that. But definitely wouldn't hate it, and I've never counted Goody out anymore. I used to be one of those people. Maybe you guys still are that way, or never were that way, or somewhere in the middle. Like Goody never makes moves in free agency. It's like, dude, you're just dumb.
Yeah.
Like he definitely does. Yeah. Like he goes out and gets a Micah Parsons, or he goes the trifecta with Smith, and Amos, or he goes and gets those savvy moves like the Rasul Douglases, the Keyshawn Nixons, where it's like, dude, this guy's moving and grooving all the time. Like something's going to happen. Absolutely. So I don't have any, I wish I had anything there. But yeah, I think they approach it hopefully the way I expect. But even just thinking back last year, Jeremy, like I know at one point at 20, what do we have? 24, 23?
Yeah, we were something like that.
Yeah. I had Matthew Golden mocked in one of my 100 mocks, but no stretch of the imagination did I have Anthony Belton, Savion Williams going in the top 100 to them. So we'll see. Hopefully I'll get 52 right, but there's a lot of real estate between 1 and 52. So we'll see what they can pull off.
No, absolutely.
No, I think we're me and Jeremy are both big Goody fans.
I've changed a little, Jeff. I will say I would say the draft wise is my only issue I've had with Goody of like the first round, third round. Like you have to nail the pick first round. Like that's a gimme. Like you should be able to identify if like a guy not being a total bust, but like be meh or a solid guy. Like that's my issue I've had. Now the one thing I will say, and I've talked with this about Matt when when Froehlich came about, was about the comp picks. Now when Goody is drafted in the third round, he has not done a great job. He's had Tucker Kraft as one of the guys. But when you look at fourth round picks, he's succeeded in that aspect, and that's what the market's looking like for us next year. Now, the Malik Willis one, that's still for debate. I mean, Matt or Jeff could tell me if that's going to be a third round, fourth round. I think it's got to be he has to play 75% of the offensive snaps to get that account to. I might be right, I might be wrong, but the fourth round, that's where he's nailed on the head. He got Zach Tom, the fourth round guys. He got Rasheed Walker, even though he sucked last year in the seventh round. He does well later in the draft. My issue again, hit the nail on the head of the first round. That's all I'm asking here for.
I personally, my argument to that though is that I feel like people overrate first round picks and think that it's like a home run for most teams. Like only, I think it's 50% like 54% of first round picks sign a second contract with their drafted team.
Yeah.
That right there says that roughly 50% of first round picks are not worth their second contract to the team that drafted them. So I just personally, I feel like people overrate the like, oh, first round whiff thing, because I think only half the teams in the league in any given year are succeeding in the first round.
Yeah, no, I totally agree on that. For me, Jeff, it's just like you've had opportunities to get that solid player. Like maybe it's like you have like a 1 in 10.
Jair Alexander was as easily his best first round pick. What, Matt? What's your thoughts though? I saw you doing it.
Yeah, no, I have a friend of mine that there's some peer review science report, PDF, book, something out there similar to what you're talking about, Jeff, where it's like teams do overvalue them. I need to find it from my friend because he talked about it a couple years ago, and we actually were at a Q&A with Andy Herman, and he mentioned it to him, and even Andy didn't know about it. So maybe my friend's making it up. That would be in his realm, but like basically validates your point. And I think the issue, I think you're both right. Like one, it's super frustrating when it's like, to Jeremy's point, it's like, okay, there's 20 guys that are gone. You have 300 prospects. Just pick one that you have all the confidence in, whether it's like he works really hard or is going to be able to fit this need instantly. Maybe he's not an A+, but he's going to be a B guard or just something like that's the part to me where it's like, it's so frustrating. It's like, dude, like you could go back and look and it's very, I don't like doing that, but you can go in certain rounds and look like, oh, look at the 10 players that were drafted after. They could have picked any of those guys and they were awesome.
The Galaxy brained it.
What's that?
Creed Humphrey.
I said the Galaxy brained it. And
exactly. Like, and then like the other part is like, yeah, I mean, if you're going to guess and if it's a 50-50 coin flip, I'm going to probably take the guy with like insane upside, generally speaking, a lot younger than most outside of Devontae Wyatt, like a Kenny Clark, right? Where it's like, or like a Rashawn Gary or an LVN. You could kind of throw Christian Watson. I know it wasn't a first round pick, but it was still like he's pretty raw. But regardless, Jordan Love, I mean, same stuff, right? Like there's like times where it's like, hey, it does work out, but I hear you. Like it's damn. You look at it's like if Jordan Morgan's not that pick in 2024, what is it? Does it change anything? Maybe not. You end up with a better corner at that spot. I have no idea. I think they were looking at linebacker if I think back to then, but
I think so.
Regardless, it's like, yeah, it is a little bit of a coin flip, which it's just frustrating though. It's like, dude, there's 350 players that you could pick and like you just can't seem, and it's like it is weird to see the trend, right? Like exactly the trends you talked about, Jeremy. It's like why are you so good on the fourth round picks? And then even like UDFAs and seventh rounders, but like you can't get the third round one is maddening to me. The first round I kind of get it, like, but the third round, like some of those picks are just terrible. Like I'll never get over the Josiah DeGuara. Like I'll never.
Thank you. Thank you.
So dumb.
AJ Dillon and Josiah DeGuara are the same draft class, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's I think those. I loved AJ Dillon, the guy, and like he had a solid season or two, but the two of them together in particular, that was pretty egregious.
Yes.
In the same draft.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, it's nuts. I don't know. So we'll see. I mean, it's I think Goody approached it. I mean, even in that draft, that was the Jordan Love draft. So they go offense. It's like, okay, I like that. Like most teams, most competent teams, whether that be a new DC, a new offensive coordinator, new head, I guess maybe head coach, but like new quarterback, like they want to build with those guys. Like, hey, even when Bisaccia was brought in, I think he got a little bit of a say on some special teamers, right? Or even, I mean, I expect that with Jonathan Gannon this year. That's why I think defense in the first two picks makes sense. It's like, okay, John, Coach Gannon, you have these guys established. You went out and got Zaire Franklin. You got Hargett. Like, what other pieces do you need? Maybe he's met his quota with those two, but like, I imagine he's going to have some say. And it's weird how I round that out to say, like, sometimes it's just like those positions you don't expect. Like 2 receivers in the top 100 last year is just crazy by the Packers, but they did it. And I don't know if it was the best move, but maybe they're, and then it's like they have some foreshadowing, right? Or like foresight where it's like, hey, contracts for our receivers are going to be pretty messy in after 2026. Maybe it does make sense to draft 2 of them. I don't know, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking of like Gannon too. One more question, just like how do you feel about just the state of the team currently? I mean, obviously the draft is still going to happen. There's going to be signs. There could be a trade, but just heading into this season, I feel pretty good overall. They obviously lost a lot of players, but I feel like the core of Jordan Love, Christian Watson, Josh Jacobs, Tucker Kraft being back, Micah Parsons. Like, I feel as long as they don't have any, let's say 2 to 3 significant players go down for the year, I feel like there's almost no reason they shouldn't make. I shouldn't say no reason, but the expectation should be like NFC Championship game caliber, if not Super Bowl.
I mean, I always have NFC Championship expectations. I think the injury bug last year was heavy. Every team has it, no matter what sport. It's always going to happen, but just to have like consecutive weeks of
brutal
potential all-pro guys getting hurt. That was the crazy part, like consistently. So state of the team, optimistic. I think always frustrated, right? Like it's just like they go all in last year and all those things go wrong in Denver and it just snowballed after that. I do think the turnover with players and the coaching staff, that will be there'll be some growing pains there. I said that 2 years ago when Halfley came in, like it's going to take a while for that defense to get figured out. It didn't. The defense was pretty damn good right away. I do think like there will be a regression back to the mean of them being able to turn the ball over last year or create turnovers. Like they couldn't create turnovers at all. They were dropping picks. They weren't first, so like maybe Gannon will be able to do that. I think it's pretty impressive how they were able to be pretty late to the party when it came for a defensive coordinator. They still got Gannon, who has been good, very good with Philly. I know it's a completely different setup, but was a head coach, which is huge, right? To get another guy like that in the locker room around the guys. Like I think, they made out okay on this. I mean, didn't really matter who they got at special teams, honestly. Like it's a philosophical change that needs to happen there. And there is lots of data to support that. I know you guys have probably either heard that, listened about that, read that, talked about it, where it's like Packers don't approach it that way. Like they're not gonna win all 3 phases. They're gonna win offense, win defense, and like if we can stalemate on special teams, that's a win. And like we're gonna prioritize punting and a long snapper. It's like a long snapper over a kicker. It's like yes. So I mean the Rich Bisaccia thing is fascinating. Like I thought the most interesting that we got out of the owners meeting was just hearing that like Rich Bisaccia as he left was like, here's a list of guys that I think you should hire. And I'm like, what?
Wait, I missed this, honestly. What was this?
So it was either LaFleur or Gutekunst said that Rich Bisaccia gave him a list of like, hey, I'm leaving. I don't know if it was in the exit meeting or sent it, whatever, but gave him a short list of players or coaches they should hire for special teams coordinator. And Cam Acord was on there. Kind of interesting. Kind of, that whole, it just adds another wrinkle. It's like, okay, you were leaving, or you were
couldn't have been that bad at terms, right?
Or maybe
helping them.
I mean, I don't know. Like that might be a generational.
It's hard to know how to read it.
Yeah, it's like you and us 3 leave on our own terms from a job. Maybe we're more bitter. A guy like Rich Bisaccia, like salt of the earth guy, like probably is like, dude, I've done this enough. Like this is a great organization. We still don't know why he left. It was to pursue other opportunities. Well, being a special teams coordinator for Clemson just seems like an odd one. So overall, it's just another layer. So it's like eventually, I know, as tight knit as the Green Bay Packers shield is at 1265, we will find out why Bisaccia left at some point. I'm very confident in that. I think there's a lot of great people that cover the team on the beat, outside the beat, etc. We will find the answer, but it just adds another layer. Like, when was the list presented? Did he slip it under the door? Did he put a stamp? Did he put a stamp on it? Did he drop it off at whose house? Like, how long was the list? And now I'm like, and then I haven't even connected the dots. It would probably be very simple, but like, is Cam Acord the net? Like, there has to be a connection somewhere.
A family connection or something.
Yeah, and like maybe there was something at the Raiders back in the day, but like, it's just another layer. So I think the state of the team is fine. I do think The only thing that's going to hold them back is Matt LaFleur. That's really it. Like, I think Matt LaFleur in the playoffs and in big games, kind of like the way he approaches the press conference, a little testy at times. You got to be able to, whatever analogy you want to do, you got to be able to hold it down in those big moments. And you
He's
have,
gotta loosen the butthole.
yeah. And it's like, I look at it pretty black and white when it comes to quarterback. Like, do you have a quarterback for your football team, NFL football team, that can win a Super Bowl? I look at it black and white. And I think
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Love can win a Super Bowl. I think that's factual. I can go down the list of all 31 other teams and might have 3 or 4 that I'm like, we could have a debate over this, but like I think it's pretty black and white. Like, and most teams I think approach it that way. Like, that's why Kyler Murray is not on the Cardinals anymore. That's why Daniel Jones was brought back to the Colts. Like, for better or for worse, like, you have to have a guy that can win you a Super Bowl. And there are those outliers. Like, you told me 4 years ago Sam Darnold's a Super Bowl
Yeah,
quarterback. We're like, dude, you're out of your mind. So
it's
it's
crazy.
so I think the biggest thing is holding him back is LaFleur, and hopefully he can take another step. But at some point, it's like, how many more steps can you take? Like, you've been the head coach here for so many years. Like, something's got to give at some point. Yeah, I'm still confident. It'll still be fun. It'll be fun to unwrap all these new toys, as we like to say, come draft time. But
Mm-hmm.
hopefully they prioritize some of these things that we think they need, or maybe they're looking ahead to 2027 and 2028. We don't even really realize it.
Yeah. No, valid. I think Jeremy and I are both really relatively optimistic as well.
Mm-hmm.
Or rather,
Uh,
Mike is the
oh yeah. Well, Mike's the
he's the curveball or the
Okay.
sour patch kid, the sour patch
yeah,
kid
Sour
that
Patch Kid. Yeah.
that at times isn't always happy with the state of the team. But no, we love Mike. But yeah, Jeremy, you want to transition to some other
Yeah.
questions you had?
So one more question because we're almost up to the hour close, so we're gonna do a mock draft very soon. But I wanted to kind of kick back to where Matt was talking about Matt LaFleur and everything. Did you support the Packers giving him that extension?
It's not a yes. That's not a clear yes.
Is it black and
That's
white? So
very
what
that's a
question
very
can you
obvious yes.
It's not a definitive yes. I mean,
Okay.
first of all, the playoff game, right? Late night. I think I had I had a family gathering on
Mm-hmm.
my mom's side of the family for Christmas, right? So it was like a 7-hour ordeal to get to the game, right? We had some Coors Lights and whatever else, and like by the end of the game, I'm like, oh my gosh, just
But it started so it was such an
started
emotional
so
roller
good.
coaster where
Started
it's
so
like
good.
you went from so like I chose to have a couple beers when I don't normally for games for this reason,
Yep.
and I was so pumped at halftime, and then just felt like a balloon that was having the air sucked out of me like slowly. But anyways, go
Right.
ahead
So it
there.
was like
It was so
through the
painful.
day, and then it's like we're celebrating the first half, and the second half we're like coping beers, and then it's like after the game, I just stood up, and it was like the 7 or 8 of us dudes in there. I'm like, was that the last time we see LaFleur coach the
Yeah,
Packers? And I think at the
it
time
felt
it was
weird.
like it seemed like a for sure. And then that
Yeah.
full week goes by, and some sense was talked into me by a lot of talking heads or people on the internet. It's like, what other option is out there? Like, how does it get any better? Like, at the bare minimum, it's a lateral move. You go and get a guy like John Harbaugh, who, like, good coach, has a Super Bowl, but like, is John Harbaugh like tipping the scale for the Packers in 2026? Probably not. Like, he's in the back half of his career. Maybe it works for the Giants, maybe it doesn't. So I was a little bit surprised that they kept him. I do still think that it was the right move to combine Russ Ball, Goody, and LaFleur together. I think it would be very stupid to get rid of one of them or two of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the right combination. And then the fourth being Jordan Love. Like, whenever Jordan Love was selected in 2020 with Matt LaFleur, it's like, okay, they're kind of on a 5-year plan. I've said that, tweeted that, etc. And like, okay, I guess it's not a 5-year plan anymore. It's a 6-year plan, 7-year plan, whatever it ends up being. So it's like they've extended it for
Mm-hmm.
better or for worse. Like, we don't really know if that's a good decision or not. I'm sure whatever, I don't want to say a misstep they take, but like all of a sudden if this Micah Parsons thing just blows up in their face, right? The Packers are still going to figure out a way to navigate it without 2 first-round picks. That might set a franchise or a business back decades. Like, but the Packers are good enough to navigate that. So if it does not work out with LaFleur and it definitely crumbles at some point or doesn't, cool to figure it out. But yeah, it wasn't a smash extension for me. I don't think we've gotten the not surprising again from the Packers. I don't think we've gotten the numbers on the. I think we got the contract number. It was 3 years, I think, but I don't know if we've gotten the price. And I think when they were talking about the price, that was also in that week or two after. I was like, man, dude, they're not paying this guy anything to begin with. No wonder he's like kind of hanging on. Like I kind of get it too. Like I'm not even getting paid. I mean, he was getting paid nothing compared to the rest of his coaches. So I kind of get it. But yeah, it wasn't a for sure thing by any means. But we'll see. I mean, I still think there's a chance that he could still win a Super Bowl, but I'm just not as confident as I'd like to be with my head coach for my favorite football team.
Yeah, I think I generally agree. Like, definitely needs to move the needle more this year. I think something I like to say that I think people don't think about maybe as much is like, I feel like it's unique in the sense that he's kind of ushered two different eras though. Like when he first became the head coach of the Packers, he was inheriting one of the oldest rosters in the league, Aaron Rodgers at the helm, et cetera. And that, ran its course through 3 seasons or 4 seasons, if I'm doing my math correctly, but then had to transition into then being the head coach for the youngest team in the league for 2+ consecutive seasons, right? With completely different offensive weapons, quarterback, et cetera. So not to make an excuse for him by any means, I just think it's a very important piece of context in his head coaching. It's not like he's had like the same core for 7 years and hasn't done anything with it. He's had like 2 completely different teams almost that he's had to adapt to and, have a different plan for.
I mean, I'm holding on to that one. I think I've probably heard that before, but that one hit me. Yeah, I agree. It's a better way to look at it than like he's had 6 years to figure this out. It's like, well, dude,
it's 2 very different approaches that were.
Yeah, and it's like he had to navigate. I love Aaron Rodgers, but he had to navigate Aaron Rodgers in a way that he would go out there and be like, "Sweet boss, you called this play. Don't really care." It's like, so to go from that to then having to like, oh, I have all the confidence in the world, but I'm a little nervous what this guy's going to do to like making Jordan Love a viable quarterback. Like that is, no, you're right. That's
2 huge accomplishments. Like we thought Aaron Rodgers was done, right? All the vibes were terrible. Dude. And then 100%. The 2020 season was magical. Like the fact that LaFleur was a huge piece of that is something I'll remember forever,
Absolutely. Jeremy's got the mock draft up.
Oh, yeah. We got to get it ready for Matt here, folks. One question I did have before we'll transition for Matt to do the mock draft. Matt, this is a fun question I like to give for you. If you could sit down with any Packers player or Packer executive, so it could be the coaches or it could be people from past time, who would you want to do a sit-down interview with?
Is an interview like, and I this is my personality. I'm always going to ask the small details. Are we grabbing a cigar? Are we having dinner? Are we sitting out at my house? Are we at their house? Are we doing a podcast that everyone's going to see? Jeremy, like I need a little bit of something there.
I'll say podcast wise. Since you have a podcast, I'll say for your sake.
Okay, so it's like someone I want to get on Pack a Day. I would definitely do current. I feel like we get enough acts. I feel like there's enough information about Matt LaFleur, so I don't necessarily want him. I would have loved John Eric Sullivan. Maybe even John Eric Sullivan would have been a good one, like just to see where he's gone from. Goody, I think, would be great. I don't think you're going to get much from Goody, though. Like I mean, even the press conferences, like, that's what I was surprised. I don't remember if it was him or LaFleur this week with the mentioning about the sheet from Versace. I think it almost had to be LaFleur. So outside of those guys, like, I know I've talked to Aaron Popke before, like their front office guy. Maybe Ed Policy. Okay. I guess that'd be the only one. Maybe Jason Wallers too. He's the VP of like communications. He's been there a long, long time. He's on Twitter. I think he just uses it as a monitoring of what's going out there. Let me get so Policy would be great. Wallers would be great. And then Russ Ball. Russ Ball, he has to be. And
he's glorified.
Yeah. He's like a Lord of the Rings character at this point. He's like a mystical creature to us, I feel like.
Yeah, and there's like he's a special type of crazy, probably, right? Like, he has to be so good with numbers and so good with like how to figure that stuff out. Where it's like I think Russ Ball's got to be the one, because I feel like Ed Policy or Wall, for sure, both those guys are going to give you more like PR speak, especially Wallers. That's his job. But you might be able to, for me, it's like I don't know much about escrowing or buying property and how it works to
Yeah.
get money back into operation. So like I think Rust Ball's got to be the number one, and that could
Uh-huh.
be a 3-hour podcast, and I'd probably leave it more confused. But like, if I can ask him like all the stuff, right? Like how did they navigate? Like even the Elton Jenkins thing, like how did they figure out that they weren't going to be able to resign him since he switched positions, or how did they like all these things that like just like and just like what their office looks like. I always envision like Rust Ball probably has like a 90-inch TV with like spreadsheet, right? That's just like calculating stuff. It almost like you almost would have to, right? Where it's like,
Yeah, I would think so.
if I do this and extend, like there has to be something. So Rust Ball's got to be for sure, because we don't. I mean, exactly what you said. Like you never hear from Rust Ball. Nothing. We don't see him. Like
I think it's pretty fascinating because I feel like we as fans like to think that all the people that run the team are like have the emotional side of it where they have that connection with the players and like kind of like a feeling towards the players. But
Yeah.
it's like entirely possible that part of the reason Rust Ball is so good at his job is because he's just looking at a spreadsheet and has little to no like actual relationship with the players and can be very objective about it and just plug numbers and see what makes the most sense.
Yep.
So it's interesting.
Hell yeah.
I'm just surprised he hasn't been like interviewed for like a GM position, like John Everett Sullivan, of course, has. But like, how has Russ Ball not been interviewed for something like that?
I feel like it's probably such a very specific like financial position, right? It's not really like a G. I don't think it's like a jump to a GM and that type
It's
of role.
probably
typically.
closer to like an accountant or like
or a
That's what I'm thinking.
CFO. He's basically like the CFO.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what he is. So it's like so it's like, where do you go from there? Do you go to be a G? I don't know. And like, there's always.
I think he's at the top. I think he's already at the top of his field, essentially.
Yeah, it's either that or like you become the president where Ed Policy is. But like, I mean, he's more like his knowledge is obviously more than numbers. I don't think he has like what Goody has or LaFleur has in evaluating players.
Exactly. And final note on Russ Ball. He'll turn 67, it looks like, in August. So it's like, I don't know if that same rule applies. I'll call it the Mark Murphy rule, right? It's like, you turn 70 and you have to retire. Does that apply to this position? Or is it only for the G? I have no idea. But I would imagine it's like even my parents are a little bit older. It's like, my dad's not starting a new career at 67. He's like, no, I'm trying to retire in 5 years. I'm not trying. I mean, or shoot, I wish I was retired already. So it's like to go into a new organization and try to grind it out for another X amount. It's just like kind of would be stupid. And he got the extension, so he's there to stay.
Maybe Ken Angles can replace him one day. We'll say.
That'd be awesome. Ken would be perfect for it.
All right. Well, moving on, folks, to the mock draft here. We got PFF we're going to use here because this is the one site that did not want to crash on me through many attempts. So with this one,
RIP PFF, though.
Yep. Holding it down for him, Jerry.
Yeah, holding it down for them. So yeah, we're going to have 3 rounds is what it's giving me here. So I don't believe it's allowing trades here. So good. Matt will be taking the course here. He will be being Brian Gunkins out here, while we're Matt LaFleur or the fan, the assistants. If Matt needs any assistance at all, but it's Matt's draft here, folks. So we will enter it now. Let me see. Oh, can we start? Yes, we can. All right. So starting the draft now to see. Does anyone have a guess of who the first pick will be?
I mean, gotta be Mendoza. Not even close.
All right, there's the money. If the Raiders don't pick Mendoza, you win free money off Matt. Just start out with it, folks.
Fair. That's fair. There it is.
All right. Start the picks here, see how it's all going here. As I'm doing working on my video here for the first round mock, it is interesting to see what Matt's talking about earlier. It's mostly been edge and offensive line I've seen go off the board a lot within the first round.
I really need to brush up on any. This is probably the least I've been informed at this point in the game, honestly, where I do not know a lot of prospects. But it's also probably because I've been hearing constantly that this is a pretty weak class.
Yeah. Yes. And I don't know. I feel like there's good value in this class. That's my favorite part. I did see Abney went right before, who I've been mocking a little bit. Let me let's see.
There we go.
Go to let's just check corner. Corner's usually my first spot. Okay. Unless there's like a random D end up there that I would love, but I don't see anyone that love. Keontae Scott would be fun, but he's more of a nickel, and I don't think they go nickel. Okay. Traden Stucks is a guy that's been popping up a lot recently. Okay. There's good. I mean, so the thing with this, So it's Scott, Rivers are definitely nickel corners from my understanding, and very small. Like Rivers is tiny, and they don't do that. I don't think Igbinosu is a 52. I think he's more an 84 guy. So we're just gonna go Stucks, whatever the hell his name is. We're gonna rock with him.
All right, Wildcat out here, folks. We
Yeah.
taking him. All
And
right.
now, generally speaking, at this far, it's like, okay, is there a good edge guy left at 84? Probably not. Defensive line, more than likely, or offensive line, interior somewhere. So it's like the 84 spot's usually easy. Now, their only nugget is okay, see, they kind of did it, where Rivers is still there. I don't think they'd do that. It would kind of be goofy.
Yeah.
Kyle Lewis is a crazy prospect, but again, I don't necessarily know if they would go and get him. It might make sense with the Gannon defense.
Yeah.
Do me a favor, Jeremy, go
Yep.
interior D-line.
Okay.
Nice.
There we go.
Definitely don't love that for 84, and then do interior offensive line, please.
Okay. Here we go.
And I've loved Sam Heck for a while. Do they do that at 84 and Slaughter? See, it's like you look at some of those guys, like even like Slaughter there, Farmer there. Go back to Vest available.
Okay.
And we'll probably end up doing, and then scroll down a little. Yeah. You got me. There's Everett, who's been sneaking up the boards a ton. Or not sneaking up the boards. I saw him at like 5th round the other day.
No way, Jim. I was like, get the hell out of here.
Let's do
Gotta have fun, kids. Gotta have fun.
let's do Rashawn Benny.
Okay.
That's a guy that I've been kind of mocking.
Too similar to Rashawn Gary's name and from Michigan. I don't like the vibes. No, I'm just kidding.
What do you like about him, Matt, with Rashawn Berry? For folks that don't know,
I honestly, I do remember. So I kind of forgot. Like I'm kind of what Jeff said. Like I'm
you put him on the spot.
No, I'm somewhat bad with. Maybe you guys are like the same. Like I watched a ton of college football this year. Mostly because it's been a good product. Others because it's been just important as a following team. Getting to dynasty football more the last few years. It's like it's fun to watch it. So like. Yeah. When I watched Rashawn Benny, I was like, wow, this guy explodes off the screen. But 3 months removed, I don't remember who Rashawn Benny was. And all of a sudden it pops up. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. He was number 26 on the defensive line. So he just kind of checks the box for me. Like 6'4", 300. Like he can take up some space. I would love to see just another interior guy there. Again, the problem I have with the fronts, actually all of the defense, is like, just because the Packers have drafted like this the last few years with Halfley and even before that with Joe Barry, doesn't mean that they would still do that this year with Jonathan Gannon coming in. So it's like, I think that'll be telling to see, like, because there could easily be a conversation for me. We could have drafted Chandler Rivers there and been like, oh, we get a nickel corner and an outside corner. They're going to be set at corner. But everyone kind of early on in like mid-February in these mocks, it's like they're not going to draft a nickel corner. They're set. And it's like I feel like a lot of that narrative was like before they had Jonathan Gannon. So I say that all to say it's like, well, maybe Jonathan Gannon doesn't prioritize Rashawn Benny. Maybe Rashawn Benny is more of like a 1-tech or a 2-tech and like can't move around. They kind of already have that with Devontae Wyatt. But like if they're going to more of a 3-4 concept or 4-3, I forget which one they're transitioning out of and into potentially.
Yeah.
It might not make sense. So there are options there for sure. Like I could have easily been persuaded into Kyle Lewis. Like that would have been not that crazy of an idea. Zaire Franklin's going to be a run stuffer. That's great. But like they might have more linebackers on the field and Lewis would be the second most athletic linebacker they would have. The athleticism at linebacker after Cooper is a little bit weak, to say the least. And he might have fit the spot there. But there were some options there that I definitely didn't hate.
Nice. Well, as we get the grade from PFF, according to them, Matt got B's for both picks. So
I'll take that.
We'll take that to start the mock draft here on Pack Reacts. Last year, we randomly had Big B get A's on all of his. I don't know how, but he randomly did. But Matt starts off strong here, I will say. I like these picks that he mentioned for whatever PFF gives us. I really like this CBD line. I think are the two main priority issues you have to address in the draft. And I think this is what is really strong, I will say, in my opinion, is the D line in this draft, I would say.
Jeremy, can you imagine if we got a B rating on a third round pick? How sick would that be?
That's that's the
Sure.
holy grail. That's the holy grail, in my opinion. I mean, Matt already hit the nail on the head. So can Matt just go up to the podium and just announce this pick, and boom, we get a B? I'm happy with that.
I just want to be. I just want to be. I don't care who. Just give us a B rating.
It could be a C, honestly.
Honestly, really
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be improved.
Yeah. But yeah, that is Matt's pick here, folks. Let us know in the chats when we publish this, of course. See who you guys want for your mock draft. Do you like these guys? Do you not? But Matt is our draft expert on the show. He knows more knowledge than both of us do combined, of me and Jeff, I will say, as of now, and probably will continue until the draft starts and ends. So that is our mock draft with Matt, folks.
One final fun question for you that we like to end the show with sometimes. What's your favorite sports movie from childhood?
Sports
or movie,
movie.
movies if you can't pick one off the top of your head.
Sure, sports
But
movie.
doesn't have to be a great or without answer. Just what comes to mind when you're thinking about being a kid on a summer day or something, and or whatever.
Yeah, this is crazy because we used to watch it a ton when I did traveling baseball. Bench warmers. It's like
Yeah.
it's like barely a sports movie, but like
Yeah.
there's a lot. It's like one of those movies that like you couldn't get away with some of that in 2026.
No
But, like we
way,
used
yeah.
to watch that. There was like 2 summers we were traveling baseball, and like we would bring the DVD to like every traveling hotel. It was like a couple of summer, but it was just something we were always watching. Even like after games, we'd go hang out at someone's hous and like watch it. So that one hits me, and then like a real serious one for sure. Like Remember the Titans.
Yeah.
How do you go wrong with Remember the Titans?
Classic.
But yeah, Benchwarmers. You said the summer day. I'm like, dude, we used to watch that when I was like
Yeah.
13, 14, 15, like all the time. And there was like a couple people that had it just in case. Like, oh no, I brought it too just in case. So yeah, it was awesome. That's a good one.
Yeah, great answer. Cool. Anything else, Jeremy?
Let me think. Matt, what would you say out of all the Packer experiences besides the Super Bowl, and we probably talked about this last time you were on here, what has been your favorite Packers moment you've explored in person at the Packers game of going to a Lambeau game?
Yeah. Great question. There's, it used to be easy to pick those. And just fortunate I live not far from the stadium, so I get to games more often than I should. Randomly, I'll have like an old coworker, or a friend of mine, or a colleague, or a family member Saturday night, Sunday morning, be like, "Hey, need someone to go to the game. You don't even have to pay for the ticket because we just had someone bail last minute." Or
awesome.
Hey, get a couple tickets. So that happens a lot, which is great. To answer your question, the one that always sticks out to me, I don't remember actually I do remember which game it was. Similar thing happened. Man, this is a long time ago. Maybe 10 years ago, probably more than that. It was, I don't know, I was back home for a Christmas, and my girlfriend and I at the time were going to leave on Sunday, late Sunday. She got a text from one of her coworkers and said, "Hey, 50-yard line seats, face value, and it's got a free parking pass." Like, sick. So we like rushed home. Of course, it's a snowstorm from Stevens Point to Green Bay. We battled that, got home, got all of our stuff together. Cool. Got into the stadium. I had never parked in like lot 2 there right off Lombardi. Didn't really matter because we were just like in a rush. We didn't get to tailgate really. But did that, got to our seats. So that was really cool. Snow game versus the Lions. And I do remember and this is the important part of the story, going to the bathroom, and in front of me in the line, there's like at the time he was pushing probably 80, maybe 90, old dude, where I was like, "Hey, watching this guy, just making sure he's okay. We don't want a guy falling down right in the bathroom." And then behind me, there were 2 young guys, probably about my age, that I don't know if they're speaking English or not, honestly, whatever, but they didn't fit the stereotypical Northeast Wisconsin. Let's just put it that way. And so I'm talking to them because they're younger, and they were from Hawaii. And it was like 30, 35 degrees. And I'm like, guys, this is like, it's snowing, but it's like those big flurries, right? And it's like, guys, it's not that cold. And they're freezing. They have like these like, the shitty little like scarf that they might hand out. They were trying to wrap up with that. Like they had stuff. It was like, they were just frozen. And it was fun. Like there was their first game. It's like, wow, these guys are from Hawaii. It's their first game. I've been to, many games before. And then the guy in front of us, the older guy, turns around, looks at both of us, and he goes, "I was actually a teenager, maybe late single digits, and was at the ice bowl." So it's like we have a guy, the juxtaposition of like having a 90-year-old dude that went to the ice bowl and some guys that are from like Hawaii was just like the craziest thing as we're both trying to go to the bathroom. So that's always sticks out to me. And it's always fun, like similar to that, like you hear of people that have had tickets for 55 years in the family, or it is someone's first time at Lambeau, and it's like, dude, that's awesome. Like I hope they have the best time ever. So that's one that always sticks out to me. And I try to tell that story a lot.
Nice. That's awesome here.
No, that's a really, really cool story. It just probably would have been a little bit like more enjoyable if it didn't take place in the bathroom. But hey, you wouldn't say
yeah, yeah. I mean, it was like, yeah, it was, yeah. And it's not like we were at the, it's not like we were at the urinals. We were getting in there, but.
Well, it was just funny when you were telling the story because you said, "Here comes the best part," and then you're like, "We head to the bathroom," and I was like, "Oh, where is this going?" But no, that's a great story. The juxtaposition is pretty insane.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Nice. But folks, that will do it here as we wrap up this episode here. We'll be publishing it very soon here on Pack Reacts of our new YouTube channel. We post now very soon, and of course our X Twitter channel. Of course, we post that. But we'd like to thank Matt once again for coming on, for joining us, and to hopefully have another good mock draft in the future. Maybe be the GM of the Packers if he hits the first round, third round right. In my opinion.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Once again, thanks for having me on. Enjoy the lead up to the draft time. Try to do your best to sift through the chaos that's out there, over the last couple of weeks, but it should be fun. I know you guys will be coming to the draft, and it's 52-84, and from there, I'm sure it seems unlikely that Goody will trade, but we never know what he'll do. So it's going to be some ups and downs there. But yeah, appreciate you guys having me on, and go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go, folks.
Thanks, man.